Most IB economics students don't lose marks on paper 1 because they don't understand the content. They lose marks because of how they structure their answers. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 mistakes that cost students the most marks on IB economics paper 1 and show you exactly how to avoid them. If you're preparing for the IB exams, fixing these mistakes can immediately improve your responses. The reality is that most students actually understand the economic theory. They know what an indirect tax is, they know how supply and demand work, and they can often draw the correct diagrams. But where many students lose marks is in the way they explain their answers. Paper 1 rewards structured economic reasoning. Examiners are looking for clear explanations that show how one step leads to the next. If your answer stops too early or jumps steps, you can lose a surprising number of marks, even if your understanding is correct. To score highly on paper 1, examiners are looking for 4 key things. First, clear definitions. You should show that you understand the economic concept being tested. Second, correct diagrams that are clearly labeled. Third, step-by-step analysis. This is where you explain the economic mechanism that connects the question to the outcome. And finally, strong evaluation in Part B, where you consider different perspectives and conditions. The biggest difference between a Level 5 and a Level 7 response is usually the quality of the analysis. The first mistake many students make is stopping the explanation too early. Students often identify the diagram shift correctly, but then they stop writing. For example, they might say that a tax shifts the supply curve to the left, and then move on. But examiners want to see the full economic mechanism. They want to see why the shift happens and what the final market outcome is. Strong answers continue the explanation until the economic consequences are fully clear. Here's an example of the type of explanation that often appears in mid-level responses. A student might write something like, "A tax increases price and decreases quantity." This statement is technically correct, but it's incomplete. It doesn't explain why the price increases or why the quantity decreases. Because the reasoning is missing, the answer earns fewer marks than it could. Let's look at what a stronger answer would look like. When the government imposes an indirect tax, firms face higher production costs. This increases the cost of production, which shifts the supply curve leftward from the original supply curve to the new supply curve, including the tax. As a result, the new equilibrium occurs at a higher price and a lower quantity. Consumers now pay a higher price, while producers receive a lower effective price after the tax. Because the price to consumers increases, quantity demanded falls, leading to a reduction in consumption. Notice how this explanation walks through the full economic mechanism step by step. This is exactly the type of reasoning examiners reward. The second mistake is weak diagram explanation. Many students draw the correct diagram but fail to explain it clearly in words. Drawing the diagram alone does not earn many marks. You must explain why the curve shifts and how the new equilibrium is reached. Your explanation should describe the cause of the shift, the change in price and quantity, and the resulting market outcome. The diagram supports your explanation, but it cannot replace it. The third mistake is relying too heavily on definitions. Definitions are important, but they only earn a small number of marks. For example, writing, "An indirect tax is a tax on goods and services," shows understanding of the term, but it does not demonstrate economic reasoning. Strong responses move quickly from the definition into analysis. You want to show how the concept actually operates in the market. Mistake 4 is not having a clear chain of reasoning. High-scoring answers follow a clear structure. First, identify the policy or economic change. Then explain the mechanism. Then explain the diagram shift. Then describe the new equilibrium, and finally explain the economic outcome. Mistake 5 occurs in Part B of the Paper 1 question, where students often provide weak evaluation. Strong evaluation considers factors such as short-run versus long-run effects, the impact on different stakeholders, and the conditions under which a policy might succeed or fail. Evaluation must include real-world examples and show judgment, not just description. If you'd like a simple guide that shows exactly how to structure high-scoring IB Economics responses, I've created a free IB Economics exam strategy guide. You can download it using the link in the description below this video. The guide walks through how to structure Paper 1 answers, how to explain diagrams clearly, and how to build the type of analysis that examiners reward. And if you're preparing for the May exams, you can also explore the full IB Economics Exam Accelerator on Scholars IQ, which walks you through how to write high-scoring responses for every type of Paper 1 question.